just saw Cocaine Bear, and of course, I had to find out how much of that movie happened in real life. And turns out, mostly just the cocaine and bear parts. Yeah, this movie is completely based on a real story. And by completely, I mean like the first 20 minutes. Back in 1985, this dude was flying a big old shipment of drugs over Kentucky. Only there were too many drugs, or maybe he got paranoid and the cops were on his trail. I've read differing opinions. Either way, we know this dude threw like 70 pounds worth of cocaine out of his plane. Then he had to pull a Loki and jump out of that plane. And his parachute was faulty though, so he ended up losing his life. But the weirdest part about that part of the story, my dude was named Andrew C. Thornton II. That's like the worst drug smuggler name I've ever heard in my life. He sounds like an English butler who's like the 500th in line for the throne or something. So anyway, after Sir Archibald Stuffington II launched like a Costco serving of coke out of his plane, it was found by the most baller bear to ever live. The bear went like crazy on these drugs. This Wolf of Wall Street yogi did what pretty much anybody in the 80s would do in this situation, I think. Like, he went after it as hard as he possibly could. Seriously. They found 40 opened containers of cocaine that this bear went to town on. Only, this is where things get really different from the movie. Aside from the fact that the bear was a boy in real life and is a mama bear with a bunch of cubs in the movie. See, in the movie, when the bear gets super jacked on Tim Allen nose candy, a ton of hilarious and horrifying events take place. The bear gets all up on young Han Solo, acts super trippy, and then eats like a ton of people. And this is without a doubt the better version of the story. Okay, so now it's time for another famous edition of The Things Science Corner. So kiddos, what happens when a 175-pound black bear eats pounds of cocaine? Does the bear A, go on a hilarious rampage, B, the bear keels over almost immediately, or C, gets a job on Wall Street? It's absolutely B. The bear totally has an overdose. Though a sequel where Cocaine Bear becomes a surprisingly successful stockbroker would make billions of dollars. Dibs on the idea. But even before the internet, which would have made Cocaine Bear into a meme like immediately, this story was a huge deal. It became so legendary that it's weird that this is the first movie made about it. And I really gotta hand it to the police who handled the investigation. They knew that they had to preserve this legend for history's sake. Like, who cares about losing the Library of Alexandria? We still have Cocaine Bear. The chief medical officer, in his professional opinion, stated that this bear was literally packed to the brim with cocaine. He then did the Lord's work by having the bear stuffed by a taxidermist, who no doubt realized this is what his entire life had been leading to. So the community then realized that they had a real opportunity here. They had to give this bear the coolest name that they possibly could. No, not Cocaine Bear. That's this bear's title. Like Queen of England or President of the United States, but more important. They decided that this creature would hence be dubbed Pablo Escobar. I mean, that's a 10 out of 10 job right there. Probably the best thing Kentucky would do until they gave us Jennifer Lawrence in 1990. Though there is a great deal of argument over whether it's spelled E-S-C Aubert or E-S-K Aubert. Like, it's been nearly 40 years and no agreement's been reached. The Civil War didn't last nearly that long, so clearly this is a big deal. So today, my boy Pablo, American's official cocaine bear, is put up in the Kentucky for Kentucky Fun Mall. He is frequently decorated with hats, chains, and Christmas decorations that I'm sure are treated with as much care as the crown jewels. And there were also all kinds of places where you could buy Cocaine Bear merch that's got nothing to do with the movie. Though now they're assuming that this movie's gonna be a big deal by just advertising this baby everywhere. Have you ever been to Oregon and seen how like pretty much everywhere sells Sasquatch merch? Yeah, it's like that, but on a much smaller scale. And I swear, if Elizabeth Banks ever makes a Sasquatch movie, Oregon is gonna lose its mind. She might be too, because it seems like this marks a whole new era in her career. Now, while I was really hoping for an equally crazy reason for Elizabeth Banks to take this job, like, I was thinking she drank a bunch of ayahuasca in the desert and a vision of Pablo Escobar appeared to her in the wilderness and asked her to tell his story. But sadly, it was a lot more sensible than that. Evidently, this project was her way of dealing with the chaotic world she found herself in during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film was just so bizarre that it resonated with how bizarre she found the world. It was also a way for her to confront confront the horrors of both the pandemic and climate change. And to her, this is a movie about how nature always wins in the end. The bear evidently resembles the eternal struggle that man has with the coked up rage monster that is planet Earth. I don't know if anyone else saw it that way, but whatever, Elizabeth Banks, you do you. She also just wanted to make something super fun for people to get together and enjoy, so. That and her last directing effort, Charlie's Angels, bombed big time. And she did not take that well online. So what did she have to lose, honestly? And she does have a bit of a spiritual connection with Pablo. Of the changes the film made, Banks said that this is something of a hypothetical revenge story. Like, she even has a cocaine bear head in her office. And I really hope she talks to it like Hamlet style every day. Wouldn't you? Honestly, I'm really hoping that this starts an Elizabeth Banks meme animals cinematic universe. Like, next up is Harambe, and then Cecil the Lion. Welcome to the new MCU, everybody.